You're listening to Studio 22. Welcome to Studio 22. I'm Brock O'Hearn. I'm here with my co-host, Will Meldman, and we are sitting here with the man, the myth, the legend, Brandin Cooks, NFL wide receiver. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you fellas for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you drove in from Newport?
Yeah, Newport,
Yeah.
Staying in the Pelican Hill right now. Just
Nice.
quick little vacation with my wife and I and son. So just wanted to get away for a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great spot, too. That's kind of my stomping grounds, like where I grew up over there. And
Not a bad place to be.
it's
Not a bad place to be. Absolutely.
Yeah, right on PCH and the view there, too.
You know it.
Yeah.
We haven't left the hotel, but, other than that, just kind of just been hanging out and enjoying that view. I wish I knew how to golf.
I was going to say the course is beautiful there.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's actually something I'm trying to get on right now, too, because Will is a great golfer.
Thank you.
So I got to step my game up.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you got to stay consistent. I feel
Yeah.
like every off season, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna learn. Go out there a couple times, get distracted. Next off season, we back at step one.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's how it goes. And then I'm sure being a dad now too, right?
yeah, that's a little more difficult. I can't be gone as long anymore.
You gotta get him on the field then, and then
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is now he's at that age where he can run around. So when I'm working out, I bring him to work out with me.
That's cool.
And just to be able to see him run around, it's been awesome. So
Yeah. How old is he? If you don't mind?
a year and a half now.
Year and a half. Oh yeah, dude. When they start talking and like, dude, it's
Absolutely.
a whole nother. It's crazy because you almost watch them daily learn something
Every
new.
single day.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like you didn't know that yesterday, did you? That's crazy.
They're like sponges, right? They hear
Yeah.
you say something and they just repeat it. So you got to be careful too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'll come back quick. That's funny, man. So you're from California, right?
Yep. Grew up in Stockton, California.
Nice, man.
My whole life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm from Sacramento.
Yep.
Will's from
San
the Bay
Francisco.
too.
Yep. We all Northern California.
That's it.
There
man.
we go.
Yeah, must be something in the water up there, man.
Right. A little bit more weather. I should say than SoCal.
Yeah.
Both places are obviously special.
Yeah, California in general is just something like.
It's something about it.
Yeah. See,
Something about it.
I didn't travel until I was like 23, 24, anywhere.
Okay.
And when I first did, I went to some beautiful places. I went to where was I? I was in Greece. I went to Italy. I went to and I'm sitting here and I'm like, these places are beautiful, but like, why is it 120 in Croatia every day? Why is it like this? I didn't realize how nice the weather is here.
No, it gets spoiled out here for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, those places are beautiful and it is amazing to travel to. So that's awesome though. But football is taking you around the world now, huh?
Football has taken me around the world, Been playing it since I was 9, obviously going off to college for it. And then now being in the NFL going on 9 years, hitting all the different spots that I've hit before, the people that you meet, different things that inspire you. I mean, that's why I got into traveling. Had a couple buddies that traveled. For the longest, my first 3 years, I was like, I'm just straight football. I work out, come home, that's it. And I started to realize, man, I need to find a balance. I remember Drew Brees telling me, you got to find that balance between life and ball or you're going to burn yourself out. Yeah. So I'm like, well, what can my balance be? Well, in the off season, I would start to travel, At the time, she was my fiance, now my wife, and my mentor would go to, Asia, New Zealand, and those type of places. And after that first trip, you're just like, all right, I got the bug.
Yeah.
This is going to be my balance, right? Yeah. Take my break, go travel, and experience what the world has to offer, and that's been special. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that.
That's great, man. Yeah, there's a book I absolutely love. I don't know if you read it, but it's called The Power of Full Engagement, and it's talking about that balance too, basically. And they take high-level athletes and they break down what they do on a day-to-day basis, or at least when they're playing as well, and how they fully engage in their craft,
right.
And then they fully disengage.
Yep.
Like, the best tennis players, how much they can recover in that short amount of time between each set.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing in life too. It's like if you don't fully disengage, you are going to get burnt out.
No doubt.
And if you're all in something, regardless if you're passionate about it or not, too much of a good thing is not a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
So that's really cool. You found traveling, and then I was looking at your pages too, photography as well.
I mean,
that's cool.
It kind of go hand in hand, right? You travel, you're able to capture moments and experiences that you could pull the phone out, be able to capture those and go back and edit it. Like you said something to me earlier. It's like editing a memory, right?
Yeah.
You chopping up a memory and you being able to edit it and be able to grasp it the way that you remember it. It's also something special.
Yeah, man. from what I saw too, you got a great eye, man.
I try.
No,
I've been learning from some great people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's cool.
I just got to keep doing it. You know, it's been unfortunate these last couple of years with COVID, not being able to travel as much, but things are starting to open back up, and hopefully being able to get a big trip here soon.
Yeah. I actually just saw yesterday that they removed the mask mandate nationally. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just for traveling. So I think more people are going to start traveling even more because of that too. And,
get back to, you know, sharing life with different people that you don't know, right?
That's it, man.
So I look forward to that.
That's going to be cool, man.
Yeah. And Will, you travel a lot, don't you, as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with Discovery Land
Yep.
and all the golf courses kind of around, like what I love about traveling is, you know, meeting tons of different people and seeing how people live all over the world and different customs and, you know, food and culture. And it really kind of gives you tons of perspective on not only like where you're from and the circle of where you live, but just kind of people in general.
No doubt.
And I think it just forces you to kind of understand people better. Yeah. Which I love. Yeah. But also photography. Yeah. Like my intro into film was basically I would film family vacations.
I got you.
And I'd just spend hours like editing them on iMovie and putting like Red Hot Chili Peppers to it. And like, and that like really was my introduction into film.
Gotcha.
And got me inspired. But yeah, for
no
sure.
doubt. You better be good at golf, you know, traveling the way that you have to travel to Discovery Land.
You're exactly right.
Yeah. No doubt. You have to be. It's like one of those things that, I feel like you just got to do it, right? So
yeah, for sure. Starting at a young age helped a lot, for sure. My little brother is already like way ahead of me. Yeah, I'll be encouraging him. But yeah,
that's awesome. You play with a lot of pros too, huh?
Yeah. You get like, you know, you said Pelican Hill. Yeah. The last foundation event I played in was Clay Thompson had one down there. We were out there with like Bob Menery, a few other guys, and you know, just beautiful track down there. But that's another thing about golf too, is a lot of people use it to travel and play different tracks around the world. And, you know, it is like a community, and you can meet new people and travel and all that because of it. But
absolutely.
Yeah, that was one of my first times I ever golfed was with Will, and one of my favorite things he said, because I was just whacking the crap out of this thing, and I'm like, I'm trying to make this thing fly, right? And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, there's a reason that 90-year-old men are playing this game, you know.
That's true.
It's
very true.
It's about the technique, you know. It's
Jedi.
Exactly, and then from there it was a game changer. I remember
it's a humbling sport. I can tell you that much. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. No matter how good you may think you are, every single day, you know, there can be a day you go out there and you just don't get it done. You know what I mean? But it's humbling to learn for sure, because like you think you're an athlete and you go out there and try to hit this little white ball and you're like, wow, I'm embarrassing myself at this point. Yeah,
I think like that's why a lot of pro athletes are attracted to the game too, because you know, you can't just get good at it super quick, and it's like it does take so much repetition and learning. It's like you're on top of the world in one field, in one sport. Yep. And then you can kind of come into this one and just get your world rocked.
No doubt. No doubt.
But like I've also, you know, seen a lot of pro athletes that pick it up really quickly too, just because enhanced coordination and all that. But yeah.
That's awesome. So going back to, you know, I think you said the first time you traveled was when you went to college, right?
Yep, that was the first time.
Yeah, Oregon State?
Yeah, Oregon State.
Yeah. Was that your first choice? Or?
No, you know, funny story. I was actually committed to UCLA at first. You know, my buddy, one of my best friends, Phil Rule, he was a year above me. You know, he went to UCLA. And my dream school has always been UCLA. And at the time I took my visit, you know, I was like, oh, yeah, this is it. Committed. You know, we driving down, going to the Rose Bowl, looking at Beverly Hills. And first of all, now that I look back at it, I'm like, I won't be spending no time in these places as a student. But, hey, it looks cool. Yeah. And at the time, Rick Neuhauser was the head coach. And they called him Slick Rick. And great dude, and you know, and did a great job recruiting me, clearly, because I committed. But then at that time, months passed, you know, they didn't have the best season. And everyone knew that he was getting fired. And so for me, I was like, I might got to rethink this thing. I don't want to head into a new place with a new coach that really never recruited me. And, you know, so at that time, Coach Riley ended up coming to visit me, taking another swing at it, visit me in my home in Stockton, this little duplex. And sat down, had dinner with us, and I think that just my mom was like, well, I love this guy. I love this man.
That's cool.
And he runs a pro style system. You know what I'm saying? And he already had guys that were short. You know, I'm considered short for football that had a lot of success. So I'm looking at that like, you know what? My main goal is the NFL, and no matter how sexy it may look or how I get there, I just want to get there. So I ended up decommitting from UCLA. Rick Neuheisel got fired, and ended up going to Oregon State.
Man, smart move.
Yeah,
man.
well, yeah. Now I look back at it, I wouldn't change that move for the world. So
that's awesome, man.
It was some growing pains that first year.
100%.
But I mean, it's a great spot, and you know, changed my life actually.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I try to look at things with an open mind too. You know, it's a lot of times I commit, and I think a lot of us do really, is commit to an idea of something that we believe we want or we think is right for us. That door closes, and then you realize, oh, this one opened for that reason, for those exact reasons. And then I always say, you know, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. You know,
no doubt. And I feel like if we can do a better job of, you know, thinking that way consistently, you know, we get caught up. You know how it is. We get caught up like, man, no, I have to make this work. Yeah. And you feel so much resistance. And then you let go and like, see, because there was something better on the other side. So so I feel you on that.
That's cool, man.
And like speaking of that and that pressure, I mean, when did that moment click of the NFL? Because I mean, you look at, there's around like 1 million high school football players in the U.S., maybe 70,000, you know, in NCAA, and then I think it's like 1-2% of that to the NFL. I mean, what was the moment? I mean, was there tons of pressure you felt, or how was that?
No, it was not a lot of pressure. You know, I grew up with 3 older brothers. You know, my dad passed when I was young. And I was 6, and so my mom raised me and my 4 brothers, and there was never any pressure because, like, really, you was like, well, you think to yourself, like, I don't really supposed to make it. But then again, I saw how hard my mom worked, right? Mm-hmm. And I still, to this day, I chase her work ethic. I always say there's one person I can never outwork, and that's my mom. And
that's awesome.
And so I just always knew, like, as long as I work hard, I'm going to make it. And I think that moment finally clicked, really. Like, Pop Warner is one thing, you know, had a lot of success. A lot of kids are freaks in Pop Warner. But I think that it clicked really going in my senior year of high school. Like, no, I'm supposed to be playing this game, and I can play this game at a high level. I remember going to Stanford, the Nike camp, going into my senior year of high school, and that was my first time ever going to a camp because I couldn't afford it. But at that time, they invited me. And I was fortunate enough to win MVP, but you got guys there that are like, you know, 5 stars. I'm belong right here with these guys. And if they should make it, and I for sure should. And that was kind of always my mindset. It was like, you know, one person said it, Will Smith said it. He was like, look, you might be more talented than me. You might be sexier than me. You might have more gifts than me. But if we're both on the treadmill, the only way that I'm going to stop is if I die. And that's kind of that mindset that I have. It's like, you're not going to outwork me. As long as I don't let that happen, I'll find my way in somehow, some way. So
he also said something I love too. He's like, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Yep, that's true.
And I've kind of adopted that too as well. You know, there's been some really great stuff, and finding people that leave. You know, success leaves clues, right?
Yep.
So it's having that, and then picking up those things that work for you and moving forward.
No doubt.
Yeah, it's the work ethic, man.
It gotta be.
Yeah,
it gotta be. Because there's definitely guys that I grew up with in my hometown. I mean, freakish athletes. They just didn't, you know, end up making it because they didn't want to continue to work hard or something else. But
was it outliers? You know, 10,000 hours. They say, you know, you can have all the talent in the world, but eventually the hard work will like it'll pass it. There's no comparison. You know,
absolutely.
But that's a shout out to single moms too. I grew up a single mom too, with 5 kids. Yeah, same. And I'm like, just being able to juggle that,
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I took my nephews to Disneyland, 2 of them, and I almost lost my mind.
Now imagine doing that every single day for however many years, right?
Yeah. It gives you a different perspective, man. And it's the same thing too. Like, I want to give my mom the world, man, because you know, seeing what she did for us and holding on, you know, and
no doubt.
It's not easy. So it's cool to see you doing it, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So then after Oregon State, you're drafted in the first round by New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
Take us there. How was that?
It was a crazy moment because, so first off, I take my family, my mom, my brother, and my wife, who's my wife now, and we do the whole, you know what, I was like, I think I'm going to get drafted in the first round. After the combine happened, I was like, all right, I think I'm getting drafted in the first round. So let's go to the green room in New York. And when I look back at that, it was the most stressful room in the planet. I mean, there's 32 picks in the first, but there's probably 40 guys there. So 8 guys aren't going in the first round. So it's literally a green room. I mean, you got these circle tables and we're squished in there like sardines. And I'm sitting there, we all thought we were going to the Jets at pick, I think it was like 15. And so pick 15 come, the camera's just in my face because everyone's like, he's going to the Jets, so I'm nervous. No phone call. I'm like, oh shoot, what's going on? I'm sitting there. I'm not talking to no one. Yeah. My mom tried to say something. I'm like, don't talk to me. And everyone just know when I get in that mood. And during that time, you got guys firing their agent on spot. They're like, you telling me I was gonna go in the first? You told me I was gonna do this. And so I'm like, oh boy. And then my agent at the time is just sitting there on his phone, but not calling any teams. I don't know if he's texting, if he's surfing at the time, Facebook or something. So I'm getting mad now. So I'm like, dude, you supposed to be doing your job. Call these teams. Yeah. So then I'm sitting there in this gray suit, oversized, by the way. I don't know what I'm doing. And
gotta look professional, man.
And no doubt. So then I get a call from a Bay Area number. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to San Fran. I'm like, this is a dream come true. But at the for whatever reason, he was using the Bay Area number, but it was Sean Payton, pick number 20. They trade Philly to get the 20th pick because they felt if they didn't get me at 20, I was going to be going at 21 at the time, the Chiefs. So he's on the phone. He's like, hey, this is Sean Payton. We coming to get you. You ready to be a Saint? And I'm like, absolutely. Let's do it. And so, he make the call in to the commissioner. I hang up my phone, and I'm just quiet because I'm still in shock. And my family was like, well, I was like, oh, that was the Saints. We're going to the Saints. So I'm like delayed. So everybody excited. They call me. I walk up to the stage. They give you the hat. And man, it was a special moment because, I saw my mom I think that weight off her shoulder was just taken off right then and there. She didn't have no expectations, but she knew that my dream was always to take care of her, right? And however that may look, so I just saw this weight just go off her shoulders, and it was over with from there. She broke down, and I mean, as a kid, it's like you in the Big Apple. You dream of this, you watch the draft, and you always want to be in that moment one day and actually live it out. Was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Making an incredible moment even better.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, I love that delay too. You're like,
I'm like, they looking at me and I was like, because clearly they know I'll talk to someone. They're like, well, and I'm like, oh, we're going to the Saints.
Oh yeah, the reason we're here.
No doubt.
Oh man, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, was there any crazy obstacles once you got into the NFL?
I mean, my rookie year, I broke my thumb, and I missed the last 6 games, but I wouldn't consider that really crazy obstacle. I think my obstacle started once I got traded. After my 3rd year, I got traded to the Patriots, and super excited about it. I mean, obviously, you got this dynasty. You're going to play with the greatest quarterback of all time, arguably the greatest coach of all time, right? And on the East Coast, so I'm like, I've never been that far from a living standpoint, but had success there. Unfortunately, that was a Super Bowl. I get knocked out in. Didn't get to finish the Super Bowl on my team. We lose. Then I get traded that offseason to the Rams. And, had a lot of success. But then once again, got to that Super Bowl, we lost. And, those are some of the moments that as a competitor, I look back at like, man, if I was just did this a little bit different or did that a little bit different, I'll probably be sitting here with a ring on my finger or not been off those teams. I mean, granted, I had a lot of success, but clearly something didn't go right. And but that's just how hard I am on myself. But at the end of the day, I just got to keep pushing, right? That's what we do. I still love the game, going to year 9, and gonna continue to go as long as I can. And while I'm doing it, gonna continue to just do it.
Yeah, that's kind of cut from the line of probably the reason you're so successful too. Is it sounds like you expect more from yourself than anybody else ever could. And that's what gets you up in the morning, keeps you going too. And I feel that too. It's like I didn't play ball, but
Yeah.
that's physically demanding what I do for just to get in shape for a role,
Right.
or wanting to play that action. If it's ever going to be a Marvel or a DC out there, it's like I gotta look like I play in the NFL. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, man, it's a lot of work, but that's coming from too, man. It's exciting to watch your career and where you're going to, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
No, for sure. I mean, speaking of some of that hard work, I mean, that jump from college to NFL, I mean, a normal civilian like myself, like I could never imagine that. Were there any kind of habits or workouts or anything that were very similar, things you had to learn or grow? Or?
I would say college is a lot harder because there's a lot less restraints. They still got two-a-days in college in training camp. And everything is structured for you. Now, the problem with going to the NFL from a kid into this grown man's game is being able to utilize your time the right way, because now it's on you to organize an off season, let's say. And so either you're going to be disciplined, you're going to continue to work hard and get in the program, or you're just going to be a guy like, man, the off season's the off season. I'm taking it off and I'll show up when the season starts. And so for me, I was fortunate enough to get drafted, to the Saints, who had Drew Brees. Well, what did I do? I just followed him. I lived in Del Mar for 3 years, and I just followed his routine. I made sure I stayed with him, throw with him, work out with him, because at that time, I don't know nothing as a kid. Everyone's been structuring everything for me, throughout college. So why don't I go to someone that's been doing it for a long time?
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, the bond between quarterback and wide receiver, right, is like unbreakable. And then to have Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and then more and more like elite quarterbacks to kind of mirror your routine off of. I mean, that's awesome.
No, it was, I mean, like I said, I hit the lottery when it came to quarterbacks, especially at a young age. I mean, who can you learn from better than those two guys at such a young age?
Yeah. From the best.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
And then, I mean, after that, it was Jared and Deshaun.
Jared and then Deshaun, yep.
I mean,
so
cool.
I can pick them right?
Yeah.
So
you got great taste, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I did want to ask about kind of the culture in New Orleans, because I mean, we went out there for multiple jazz fests. I mean, we just had the time of our lives. Was that like? I mean, you talk so much too about schedule and discipline and focus, but there's also like a cultural component of these cities.
I call it the 48-hour city. If you don't live there, get in and out at 48 hours, because man, you can get lost in there in a great way, because there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you talk about the food scene, the music scene. I mean, you name it, it's there, and it's like, when you go there, it's kind of like going back in time a little bit, you know what I mean? And some of the things that you read about or the movies that you watch. And it's one of the greatest places in the country when it comes to that. You want to go have a good time, you go to New Orleans, because it seems like there's a festival for everything. Yeah. And but for me, that's when I didn't have that balance. So I would go out to eat, and I'll go to nice restaurants. It was perfect because my last name was Cooks. So when I got drafted, all the chefs were like, come on to the restaurant. You know what I mean? So, you had Emerald, who I grew up watching on the Food Network. He was famous for Bang. Bam. And so I'm like, this is a dream come true. I'm sitting back in the chef kitchen eating at Emerald's, So I would definitely take advantage of the food scene. And then I did, the Mardi Gras and Jazz Festival one time, and that was my rookie year, because I felt like you just had to do it. But it's a great spot if you want to go out there and get lost in the shuffle, for sure.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like you walk through the city too, and it's every other place has live music, man.
All the time. I mean, some of the best music you might hear, live performances you might hear in your life. I mean, people on the piano, or whether it be the trumpet. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, I've walked through there too, and we were talking about, we were with our friends the Thompsons from Cross Creek Pictures, and you go through, and like John Mayer's playing a set in the back alleyway, or like this. You're like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
The food is incredible. It's
man.
CP3 sent us to a restaurant. What was the name of that? It was.
Was it the one with the gumbo?
Yeah, we were eating like frog legs.
Yeah,
and
boy,
all
they're so good.
I was loving it.
My palate changed when I moved there. It's good, like I never knew that you can eat this type of food, but when you try, you're like, it's some of the best food I've ever had. So now you're like, I can eat frog. Like you're talking about frog legs, turtle soup. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. Yeah,
escargot.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally I can attest for that too, man. I grew up with my family. My brothers and sisters are like the pickiest eaters. And where my brother won't eat a cheeseburger if it has cheese hanging over the side of the burger. I'm like, it's crazy. So when I started traveling, and you're like, I don't really want to eat that calamari or whatever. You
gotta do it.
You do it, and you're like, oh my god, it's amazing. So frog legs was the first for me there, but I was like, yo, what kind of seasoning is this? What are you doing to these things? They're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
great.
That's awesome. Yeah. You have a favorite city you've been to?
Boston was awesome.
Yeah.
I think Boston was awesome. I think because at the time everyone was winning still. You know what I mean? So I get out of practice or on an off day, I head over to the Celtics game, conference final, game 7, and sitting on the court. And LeBron right there, battling against the Celtics or going to a Bruins game or a Red Sox game. So from that standpoint, it just seemed like all the teams just interacted with one another. It was like one big, fraternity. You know what I mean? They would give us free tickets and vice versa. And then be able to hop on the train, go to New York, go see a play. Those type of moments were special. I mean, that's where a lot of our history is from our country, right? So being able to actually see that, up close and personal. Was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bruins had such a great run. Yep. I mean, that must be incredible being a part of that and yeah.
That's cool. How did playing with Drew Brees differ from playing with Brady?
Man, that's a great question. So trying to see how to frame it. So they're both obviously just special, right? The way that they approach the game is different, but just it's so methodical. Drew, throughout his offseason, like the way that he works out is more, you would see like a receiver working out. Like he's in there lifting heavy weights. He's in there pushing sleds. You're doing whatever, a skill position guy will be doing. Brady, the way that he approaches the game, he's all about is, his TB12 brand, pliability. So you're not going to see him actually lifting the weight. But the way that he slings that thing it's like he does. They both lead in such a special way. I think, from the standpoint of, Tom, just what he did in Boston all those years, for 20 plus years with Belichick. It's just hard to even compare, right? They got, what was it, 6 of them in Boston, and then one with Tampa. He's just a killer. I remember we were playing in Pittsburgh. It's one of my favorite stories. We were playing at the Steelers a night game, and it was raining. And then at fourth quarter hit, Steelers are up, and they played this highlight video of over the years of Tom getting hit and sacked, and they turn the lights off, and he looks at me, and he gives me this look, and obviously he says something out, and we're not going to say on the podcast. It gives me chills to this day. And we step on the field, and I think he went 100% that drive to win the game. And it's just something about him. He's a killer. You think about Jordan back in the day, and now after watching, that Jordan documentary, that is Tom of football. He just finds a way to win no matter what, no matter who's around him. That's what he does. And he's contagious. Not just on the offensive side of the ball, but he ups everyone else's game on the defensive side of the ball. He comes into camp, the way that he competes. It's just contagious. And one of my favorite moments was playing with him because that brought a lot of that out of me myself. And then he gets off the field and he's just like a dad. You know what I mean? He just hang out there and he's approachable from anyone. Doesn't matter. He remembered every janitor name. And so I just got a lot of respect for him, the way that he goes about his business, for sure.
Yeah. Sounds like he's got that balance figured out, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like being able to turn it on when you need to, right? Like there's a switch, it's on.
Yep.
And then you come off the field. Yeah. Okay, it's off.
Yeah, it's a whole different story.
Let's go.
It's funny how he tries to keep up with the youth, the age, right? What music y'all listening to? But it's cool because you can tell he's trying. Obviously, he's so much more older than everyone in that locker room. But he goes out his way to make you, feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff on social media with him too. Like doing some of like the kind of TikTok stuff and everything. I'm like, that's awesome. It's cool. It's cool to watch, fun to watch, man.
No doubt.
Especially someone on that level too. You don't get to see that very often.
No.
And he's highest level you can possibly be. Right?
We all gotta. It's just the truth. Facts are facts.
Yeah. Did you find that there's on that level too? Like, obviously anybody in the NFL has to be great, obviously, to get to that point. Are there a lot of similar habits that people have or methods that people use, or does everyone kind of have their own thing that's unique to themselves? Man,
it's funny you asked that because I feel like you got your handful of guys that are just so freakishly talented that, they won't work out in the off season and they'll just show up and won't miss a beat. And then you got guys like myself that if you don't work hard, you're probably going to be out the league. You know what I mean? And I think it's more of those guys than not, though. But I wouldn't say we all got the same type of...
More of the hardworking or more of the, like, freakishly talented?
I would say more of the freakishly talented.
Yeah. I've heard that from friends in the league, too. They're saying, like, some of these guys are just huge and they just go out there. It's a lot of linemen, and then it's just like... Yeah. So, but, I'm sure, obviously, much like yourself, I'm not afraid of hard work. I love hard work, man. And it's a reminder, too, of what I'm doing and what I'm willing to put in to get to where I want to go,
Absolutely.
So it almost, if I had the freakish talent and let's say I played in the league, I'd rather be putting in the work every single day,
Yeah. I think about like Aaron Donald, playing with him. We all know how incredible he is, but the way that he goes about his work is unbelievable as well. So there's no surprise on why, he's doing it, what he's doing, and how he's doing it. So
iron sharpens iron,
no doubt.
What's it like interacting with the media? How is that? Are you exhausted after games, like during interviews, and like you're contractually obligated, right? Like how does that?
That might be one of the hardest parts because when you win, it's all good, right? You're more than happy to talk to the media, but when you lose and let's say you do something and the media, they got to ask the questions. So it's kind of like you got to check yourself before you go in there, because yes, you're contractually obligated to do it, and you got to also watch what you say, right? And I think the best place to do it is, like Belichick. He kind of like the less you say, the better. And he's one of my favorite, watching talk to the media because, he's like 2-word answers all the time. And media gets so frustrated, but hey, he's doing his job and he's doing what he has to do, but he's not giving anyone any, too much intel. But media is probably one of the hardest things, especially when it's just one of those things because you have to do it. Doing stuff like this is cool. You know what I mean? Because you just lay back, sitting.
Yeah.
But it's more times than not, you got to go to that podium and you're like, here we go again. More so because, if you just lost, you don't want to talk to nobody, right? So.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And then you have the Marshawn Lynch's.
No doubt, who just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And he's gonna give you what he gives you. So, which I got a lot of respect for.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's his brand now. Look what it's turned him into.
It's true.
Even off the field. So.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bring your own uniqueness to the world, man.
Absolutely.
That's part of the reason we wanted to make this in the first place was just we wanted to just have fun, man. Have good convos, meet people, hear their stories too. There's so many unique people in the world, and like how many people get to do what you do, and on the level you're the most unique in your own right, man. And it's an honor and a pleasure having you here too. But hearing these stories, man, it's like this is exciting for us. Like I feel like a nerd just listening, like, but it's exciting.
We all
cool.
got our journey, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, thanks for sharing it with us too.
Absolutely.
What would you say the percentages, of the game is mental versus physical?
Yeah, I'm a crazy number, but it's more so to exaggerate it. I think it's like 90% mental, 10% physical. Wow. The grind every day from all athletes is just different. Whether you talk about basketball, who's waking up every other day, or baseball, who's playing every day, or in our sense, we only have 17 games, but that one game takes it out of you. It's like getting in a car wreck, every single week. But to be able to wake up and do the little things that's behind the scenes that no one sees. The fun part is Sunday, but Monday through Saturday, sitting in meetings for 8+ hours and dozing off. You know what I mean? But it's a lot more mental than physical, in my opinion. And I think most guys will definitely say that. But if you can get through that point, the physical part is what we love to do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why you're there.
Yeah.
Like family too, man. You're happily married. You got the baby.
Yeah.
Which, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm kind of curious too, like how has that changed your perspective on the way you show up, even in the game, you know, on and off the field?
Yeah, I think now at this point, it's like, okay, I'm putting a product out there, you know, obviously for myself, my family, but it's like, okay, I want to leave an example, you know, for my son. Not necessarily he have to play sports, but whatever, like, you know, whatever he does in life, to just work as hard as he can at it, you know, on whatever he wants to be. Don't want to have that pressure on him. Oh, you got to play sports. You know, I'm fortunate enough to now have the means. If he wants to go to college for whatever, you know what I mean, photography or whatever the case may be, you can do that. But, you know, you just make sure you work hard at it. And so I can't preach that if I'm not putting that out there as an example. Yeah, you know, I might fail. As we're going to fail more times than we succeed, as we all know. And that's fine, but it's about how you respond is what I'm trying to put out there for him. So when he looks back at, you know, these moments, obviously he doesn't know now, but when I talk to him about things, he can't just say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know, go back and watch this. Yeah. And watch how I failed and lost 2 Super Bowls, but got back up and, you know, worked even harder, you know, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you learn from your failures, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really enjoyed Jim Gray saying when we had him on was he was working in the editing bay. He didn't necessarily want to be an editor, video editor, but he knew if he gave 110, 150% of himself to his craft that somebody was going to notice and it was going to open doors. Yeah. And through that, he got his interview with Muhammad Ali
and there you go.
And his career. It's like, and it's a true testament to that though. You know, it's like you said with Will Smith. You know, you put in all the work, you're going to outwork. I'm not going to stop until I die. You know. So
I noticed you have a photography page.
Yeah.
Archer 12 Eyes.
Yeah.
I have one too, W. Meldman photo, little small one. Yours is way better.
No.
I will fully admit that. But when did you kind of discover that you wanted that creative outlet? And how much do you put into it? And do you have fun with it?
Yeah, no, I would say when I moved to Boston and I got traded to New England, one of my teammates at the time, Malcolm Mitchell, he was shooting. And he showed me this camera. And I'll be completely honest with you. The first reason why I went to go buy a Leica, because how they're designed. So I was that guy that had a little bit of money, didn't know what he was doing. But, you know, I'm going to get the nicest camera that I can possibly get because it's just beautiful. But then I'm like, okay, I got this piece of equipment. I started traveling. I was like, I need to learn how to use it. And so I got connected with them. And from there, I just kept learning. But the inspiration came from traveling and being able to capture moments in a unique and special way. And I think one of the best parts is, you know, going back and editing. I still do it today. Fell in love with it. And, you know, when I moved to L.A., I met Brian Bowen Smith, who is a huge portrait photographer. You know, he shot some of the most, you know, famous people. But it's crazy how humble he is and how cool he is. And we didn't live too far from one another. He was another Leica guy. And so I got with him. I'm like, you know what? I want to learn how to shoot some portraiture. And to see his process was so fascinating. I was like, you know, I want to continue to try this. So I still practice today as much as I can. Right now, I've been on a break because I'm actually getting my pilot's license. So I've been training to get my pilot's license. And, you know, just working towards that now.
Yeah, that's great, man. You got to... I mean, there's so many things going on right now that I'm like fascinated about right now. So, but just to talk on the pilot thing too, like I've got a buddy, my buddy Aaron O'Connell, who's an actor and he's a pilot as well, you know. So I've gone up and flown with him a bit, dude, and it is cool.
It is.
You gotta.
It's a different fulfillment, man. When you pull the wheels off that ground and then you come back in and land. I mean, it leaves you speechless the first couple of times. And every time you go up, you feel that, and so. You know, working towards that. Hopefully, I have my private before this summer, and you know, fly
it's
around.
A lot of work, man.
It is.
Yeah, a lot
but
of
what's
time.
crazy is it's like, okay, I get one hobby, you know, to be away from the fam, and I joke with people. I was like, well, I can go fly and do my flight lessons and be home before you're done golfing. You know what I mean? I was like, I couldn't have both worlds, right? I couldn't golf and try to become a pilot, or then I might as well be single. You know what I mean? And so that ain't gonna work. And so that has been fun though. It's been fun. It's been a challenge. It's a different type of challenge for sure. Because now you're talking about your actual life. So
my buddy
can't imagine.
Yeah, no, my buddy's plane has a parachute built into it.
Oh, he must have a Cirrus, because that's the one I'm training on, SR-22T.
Yeah. That's why I was going to ask you if you had one in mind or a plane in sight.
Cirrus, So I'm actually looking into getting one now that I've been training on someone else's, but cool. Falling in love with it and just being able to, commute around the Northwest would be fun.
You ever check out those communities that are on the... they got an airport strip built into them, and you pull your plane into your garage, your hangar. Yeah,
they, like the San Juan Islands in the Pacific Northwest, they have some of those, but I'm not going to take it that far because those runways are a little skinny and a little short, so I'm not that confident.
That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah.
And then to circle back to photography, too, and then also I wanted to play into or ask you about actually the Archer. Where exactly does that stem from? And I think it's cool. Well, I'm going to let you say that first, and then I'll...
I mean, so back a while back, first thing it started was from Hunger Games, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love movies, and I love reading those books. But then I came across a Bible verse that I fell in love with, and it's kind of like violent, you know what I mean? So you really don't think of the Bible as a violent book, but it really is. And so it says, send forth lightning, scatter the enemy, shoot your arrows, and rout them. Well, as a receiver, I'll go out there on the field, and we talked about it earlier, there's a switch that you got to flip, right? And when I walk on that field, I got to flip the switch. And that's one of the things that kind of helped me remember, like, it's okay to go into a dark mode and try to kill somebody. And that's kind of my mindset. So that's my reminder every time I go out there and step on that field. And when I get off, I turn the switch off.
That's warrior mode, right?
No doubt.
That's great, man. Yeah. And
I love the biblical reference, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true, man. Pull it all together too, and it makes you the warrior that you are.
Yeah.
And that's
we all got it inside of us.
Absolutely.
Right? We just gotta have that reminder. Yeah. So that's my reminder.
Yeah, and time and place too, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't do that. Just walk around life like that. Ain't nobody gonna want to hang out with you.
Just jump up, start beating the shit out of us.
What's wrong with this guy? He got anger problems.
Well, that's what I found fascinating about also because of the Archer, and then I was reading up on the Bible verse too, man. I thought it was so cool that you made that a part of you, but to have a camera, I'm thinking shooting, and I'm thinking Archer, exactly. Dude.
They gotta have a different eye, right?
Got that eagle eye, man.
Yeah.
So it's cool that's like you essentially your weapon of choice.
Absolutely, no doubt.
And then the celebrations, right?
Yeah. What's so funny about that? In my first 2 years, they was fine with me shooting it. NFL, the third and fourth year is like, no, if you shoot there, you get fined. And I'm like, they're shooting the guns in New England. Like, how violent can it be? I'm shooting an imaginary bow. And then they laid off on it. But it's just so funny because when I do shoot it, I mean, I'm shooting that thing as violent as I can because I really think I'm shooting an arrow. But it's just like I said, that different mode that you're in. Yeah.
Was that when they banned like all celebrations, or
that was just particular celebrations that they felt that was too violent. But ridiculous. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But now that we're back at it, I'm able to shoot it again. So so far we're good to go. You know what I mean? Hopefully a lot more come out.
We'll be looking out for it.
No doubt.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I love bow shooting too, man. I got a compound, I got a survival bow, I got all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, we gotta go.
We're both bow hunters.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I haven't hunted with them yet, but I got a couple. Yeah. My wife grew up hunting with her dad. Elk in Oregon, but it's during the fall, so I'm playing. So one day I'll get out there.
Yeah, dude, I'm down to get out there with you, man. Let's
Let's make it happen. That's for sure.
Man. You can always sharpen the tool while you're here, though.
No, no doubt.
Yeah, man. Are there any nonprofits you're part of, or
not really. I'm just single moms. I kind of have my focus on single moms, cool. Just because that's what hit home for me. Whether it's my mom is interacting with different groups or myself. I just really look for opportunities that, speak to me, and I just kind of hop on, like, building some homes in Africa for single moms, which has been fun. Did a couple things around here in LA, But really just kind of focusing on, things that pop up or just kind of grab my attention.
Yeah.
Being in Houston, single mom organization that I kind of follow.
That's cool.
And help out with.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be passionate about, things you support.
Absolutely.
Sure.
No doubt.
I've said it before, but I definitely would say that, mothers, especially single mothers, are like the most powerful, important women on the face of this planet.
Now having a child is just like, I mean, I don't do nothing. And the mom is the lifeline, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of respect for all moms out there, not just single, but when it comes to single moms, it just definitely hit home for me.
I mean, but also to you, because you obviously picked a great one,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's cool, man. All right. Do you have you got any movies that you love? You got
I'm a Marvel guy all the way.
You excited for the new Thor?
The new Thor that's coming out. Have you started the new Moon Knight on Disney Plus?
Yep.
I have, yeah.
I mean, these guys don't miss.
Yeah.
Marvel don't miss. It's unbelievable what they're doing.
That's kind of the dream, for me as well as an actor. Is
go take over Thor. He probably,
man.
Give him a couple years.
There's a couple. If you really get into the comics too, there's a couple off-written storylines too. With there was actually a character who is a human from Earth, who looks like Thor, and then gets his power.
There you go.
So I'm like, hey man,
hey, why not, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
But no, it's fun, man. Just the art of storytelling too. That was for me, growing up in such chaos with having a single mother, having five of us in the house. The one thing I had was film as my escape, as the one thing I can always kind of turn to. And I knew if I got lost in a film, that it's a great film. So me and Will obviously big movie fans as well. So meeting a fellow.
I love my movies.
Yeah.
Sure.
We got Doctor Strange 2 coming up.
That's gonna be a whole nother world.
Yeah,
whole nother world.
You obviously have a very long, great career ahead of you. But do you ever see yourself going into
my dream?
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, is to act in a movie somehow, some way. And I mean, you can go back and look at questions that was asked.
We're gonna
years
shake on
ago.
it right here. It's gonna happen. All right, we're gonna make it happen.
Somehow, some way. I mean. Or at least let me go be the stunt man to run for Black Panther or something. I can fix his form or something like that. But something, I mean, it would be a dream. It would be an absolute dream and a challenge that, because, what they go through and what you guys go through, it's a whole nother world of its own. I mean, people look at athletes, man. I mean, actors and actresses, I mean, there's a lot that you got to go through. The way that you have to transform your body for a role, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you're already, in front of a camera, live entertainment. I mean, it's a very seamless transition. They're very, very similar.
Right.
It's
my perspective going into it, when I first started, having no experience, no idea what it took, how much work it was, true, and then versus now, where it's years later, and I'm grateful that I've been able to work on projects that I have in film, TV, but to see, you don't realize when you're doing a 20-hour day, you sleep an hour or two, and you get back up and do it all over again, and it's you got to be on, you got to hit all the beats, and you got to be alive. You got to be funny. You got to have energy. Because if you're like this on camera,
you're done. No one's gonna want to watch it. No doubt.
Exactly.
No doubt.
So, it's the work it takes to make film or TV show or anything in that space too. Man, people don't realize the back end. And at the time,
a lot of respect for you guys on that aspect as well.
Ditto. Yeah. What are some of your favorite sports outside of football?
Oh, F1.
F1.
I love watching F1.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, I really started focusing on that and really understanding what they go through. And they're athletes. Their hand-eye coordination and their reaction time is just out of this world. I mean, you're hitting corners at 200 miles per hour with a couple inches from the next guy or the wall. So I've been really watching that lately and following that, especially after last year, controversial call at the end of the season. So. F1, I've been hooked on. Yeah, and they're coming to the States more now. I mean, Miami, Boston, and then they just announced that they're doing Vegas. Which
Vegas would be wild.
I'll be there.
I don't know if any drivers are gonna show up to the meet the next day.
Depends on the night before, right?
No doubt.
Vegas will be great. We'll definitely be at that one. So we got to connect if you're there.
Awesome. Saying the Super Bowl too, right? Is it?
Oh, it's the same year. Oh,
is it going? I don't know if it's the same year. I don't know if it's the same year, but I think it's supposed to be coming soon.
Yeah.
To Vegas. But I'm saying, man, you can imagine that city with F1, with football.
Well, Miami too. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this one that's coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a culture city. It might be a baby Monaco right there with the
yeah,
beach and the
yeah.
water right there.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You're not wrong, man.
And did you see who is it? Porsche is 2026. They're coming to F1.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, they've been super active around it.
And they got that E1 too, you know,
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's a lot of speed right there, man.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, you just re-signed with Houston.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Could you see finishing up there, or do you think like what do you imagine going
I
from here?
definitely finished this contract up there is my thoughts,
Yeah.
but there's a lot. I think there'll be a lot more years in the tank. After that, there's 3 more years there that puts me to 11, 12, and I truly think I'll have more in the tank as long as I stay fast. I'll be around this game for a long time. So just kind of where it takes me. I take a year at a time and just kind of see where it goes. In this game, especially my career, been traded multiple times, which is fine. You know what I mean? I'll still go produce at a high level regardless where we go. But that's my thought right now, and that's why I kind of resign. Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Just kind of year by year,
no
kind
doubt.
of keep going. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. Are there things like, you said the hand-eye coordination with people from F1, the drivers. Are there other sports that you found, things that have helped you become better at your sport?
I would say basketball.
Basketball?
I mean, the movements and basketball and a crossover. You look at a crossover and you look at a receiver doing a release. I mean, they go hand in hand, being able to move the body like that.
Nice.
Very cool. We have this segment. It's called the rapid fire segment.
Let's do it.
You ready for it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Here we go. Spider-Man or Superman?
Spider-Man.
Oh, shit.
That's my answer too.
Yeah.
Summer or winter?
Winner.
Fast or strong?
Fast.
Movie theater or on demand?
On demand.
Halloween or 4th of July?
Halloween.
Restaurant or home cooked?
Restaurant.
Movie or TV?
Movie.
Comics or novels?
Comics.
Ice cream or French fries?
Ice cream.
Action films or horror films?
Action film.
Paw Patrol or SpongeBob?
SpongeBob. No question. No question.
Yeah, dude.
No question.
The way you answered that was definitely fast, so the answer made a lot of sense too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You took rapid fire serious.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's
Love
great,
that.
man. Dude,
I love it.
appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to plug or social media, anything like that?
All good, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys
Yeah, man.
for having me. I love to watch the podcast and just keep going. I feel like you're inspiring others, and got a lot of respect for what you guys are doing.
Appreciate that, man.
Dude, we really appreciate it.
No
That was a
doubt.
lot of fun.
Absolutely.
that's cool,
Appreciate
man.
it, fellas.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for tuning in to Studio 22.